Every year, thousands of prisoners are executed by governments around the world. In most countries, the details are public. The names, the numbers, the dates. Anyone can look them up. But in China, the number of executions is a state secret. There are no official totals, no public database, no way for outsiders to verify the numbers. Yet investigators believe China executes more people every year than the rest of the world combined. Possibly thousands. And what actually happens inside China's death penalty system is something the world rarely sees. This is the secrecy and harsh reality of China's death row. November 28, 2019. Lao Rongzhe is working in a shopping mall in Xiamen, selling watches. To her customers, she looks like an ordinary shop worker. But for years, Lao has been living under false identities. 20 years ago, she and her boyfriend, Fa Ziying, carried out a series of kidnappings and murders across southeastern China. Fa Ziying was caught and executed, but Lao disappeared. Today, a police database match alerts the authorities. Armed officers arrive at the mall, put her in handcuffs, and she is finally arrested. Lao Rongzhe is taken into custody and brought before investigators. She is charged with murder, kidnapping, and robbery. In court, she apologizes to the victims' families and offers financial compensation. She claims she was forced into the crimes by her boyfriend, Fa Ziying, but the court is not convinced. Prosecutors say the couple killed 7 people. The judges rule that the crimes are too severe. Lao Rongzhe is sentenced to death. While the legal process continues, Lao Rongzhe is transferred to the Nanchang Detention Center. Her cell is small and overcrowded. She is kept in handcuffs under 24-hour surveillance. China's justice system works differently. Judges evaluate crimes based on 2 key ideas: the level of social harm and the intent of the offender. Some crimes, like intentional murder, kidnapping that leads to death, or violent robbery, are considered the most serious offenses in the country. When the court believes a crime was especially cruel or caused extreme harm, the death penalty becomes a real possibility. But even then, the judge is not the final authority. Every death sentence must be reviewed by the Supreme People's Court in Beijing. Only after that court approves the decision can an execution be carried out. And even then, the law offers one final possibility. Sometimes, the court issues a death sentence with a 2-year reprieve. If the prisoner shows good behavior during those 2 years, the execution is cancelled, and the sentence is changed to life imprisonment. But if the courts determine the crime is too severe, the reprieve is denied. The sentence becomes immediate execution, and once it is approved, the execution is typically carried out within days. Capital punishment has existed in China for thousands of years. In imperial times, Chinese law listed hundreds of crimes that could lead to execution, including murder, rebellion against the state, and corruption. The punishment was not only meant to deal with crime, it was also a way for rulers to maintain order and demonstrate authority. Poorer and lower status citizens were often the ones who faced execution, but even powerful officials could be purged during periods of unrest. This happened when rulers wanted to send a clear message about control. Modern China inherited much of that philosophy. Today, the list of capital crimes still includes violent offenses like murder and kidnapping, but also crimes such as drug trafficking, corruption, and bribery. But what makes China's death penalty system stand out isn't just how harsh it is, it's how secretive it is. China is widely believed to execute more prisoners than any other country in the world. But the exact number is impossible to know. The government classifies execution statistics as state secrets. There is also speculation that executioners sometimes harvest organs from the condemned and sell them. As a result, much of the death penalty system operates behind closed doors. Lao sits in her overcrowded cell, surrounded by other detainees. Since she is on death row, handcuffs remain on her wrists as she waits for the courts to review her case. At night, the inmates sleep side by side on raised wooden boards, packed tightly with little room to move. In one corner of the cell, there is a squat toilet, shared by everyone. Above them, cameras watch constantly, 24 hours a day, to prevent suicide or rule breaking. For detainees like Lao, The court review is the final hope to live, but in her case, it doesn't take long. The courts uphold the original ruling, the reprieve is denied, and Lau receives an immediate execution order. And this is where the secrecy begins. Once the execution order is issued, Lau is placed under tighter control. Handcuffs are placed on her wrists, tied together with heavy leg chains. She will have them every minute. Until she is executed, she spends most of her time inside the cell, with no permission to go out. Here, the message is clear. Death is just around the corner, but she doesn't know when. And so, she waits. On December 17th, 2023, just 12 hours before the execution, Lau receives visitors. It's her family. They bring clothes, and her favorite dish. She carefully folds the outfit she will wear on the execution day. For 1,480 days, Lau has known the execution could come at any time. Now, it becomes clear. It's nearing. Just before dawn, around 4 a.m., guards wake her. The cell guard informs her that the execution will take place today. 2 judicial officers step inside the cell and confirm her identity. Lau is given a special breakfast, including fruit, which she must eat quickly before the final procedures begin. Around 6 a.m., she is given 15 minutes for a final shower. Then she changes into civilian clothes. She may apply nail polish, hair products, or dark lipstick. Afterward, she is taken to a small room. Her family is waiting. She bids them a final goodbye. The meeting lasts only a few minutes. When it ends, judicial officers ask if she has any final words. At 8 a.m., guards fasten handcuffs around her wrists. Heavy chains are locked around her ankles. 4 armed officers escort her out of the cell. Outside, a white execution van with blue stripes is already waiting. China carries out executions, either by shooting or lethal injection. In Lau's case, it will be lethal injection. Inside the van, a narrow stretcher bed sits in the center. An electrocardiogram monitor is mounted on the wall. Next to it is an automated injection pump with 3 large cylinders. 4 CCTV cameras watch from the ceiling. In the front section of the van, 2 large monitors are mounted on the dashboard. One shows the prisoner on the execution bed. The other focuses on the automated syringe pumps. Next to the screens are control panels with toggle switches and communication headsets. These allow officials in the front to speak to the medical staff in the back, or signal when the injection should begin. There is also a driver and 2 court clerks. They are here to oversee the execution in real time. Lau is guided onto the stretcher. A medical team straps her arms, legs, and chest tightly to the gurney. A technician attaches electrodes to her chest. These connect to the electrocardiogram, which will record her heart activity as the official record of death. A police doctor then searches for veins in her arms. Once he finds them, the skin is cleaned with alcohol. Then he inserts 2 intravenous tubes. One tube will deliver the lethal drugs. The second is a backup in case the first fails. On the wall of the van, there is an automated injection pump. Attached to it are 3 large syringes. Each contains a different drug, an anesthetic, a paralytic agent, and a chemical that stops the heart. In the front section of the van, separated by a wall of monitors, a court clerk prepares to begin the procedure. When the signal is given, he presses the button, and the automated system starts. First in is the sedative. Within moments, Lau falls into deep unconsciousness. Next comes the paralytic drug, stopping the muscles responsible for breathing. Finally, the last injection shuts down the heart. Officials watch the monitor as the heartbeat slows. Within minutes, the line goes flat. One of the court clerks writes the official record, confirming that the death sentence has been carried out according to the law. A supervising official then checks the monitor and the medical data to confirm Lau's death before any further procedures can take place. Her body is immediately cremated. Later, her family is notified and allowed to collect the ashes. But what happens inside the execution van rarely becomes public. China performs around 100,000 organ transplants every year, but the official voluntary donor list is far smaller. This gap has fueled speculation that organs from executed prisoners may be used to meet the demand. It may also explain why families are rarely allowed to see the body after an execution. Because executions are treated as state secrets, independent verification is almost impossible. In a country of more than 1.4 billion people, the message is clear. The power to take a life belongs entirely to the state.